All right, so let me switch a little bit here, and I'm going to give Alexa. I want to tell you a little bit about Alexa here. She's a National Geographic certified educator, former Rotary scholar, and the founder of Lele Art Lab, South Florida's first mobile art lab. Combining creativity with environmental education, Alexa uses art as a tool to make science come alive, fostering curiosity and engagement among learners. She holds a degree in advertising from the University of Florida, go Gators, and a master's in international policies from La Spienza University in Rome, Italy. Her innovative approach to education and environmental advocacy has earned recognition and features across various platforms. With over a decade of experience, Alexa has supported purpose-driven organizations by building grassroots programs, fostering community connections, and applying design strategy to address environmental challenges. Fluent in Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and English, she brings a global perspective shaped by her Colombian roots and diverse experiences in cities like Miami, New York, and Rome. As a former director on Wall Street, Alexa honed her leadership skills, managed high-performing teams, and gained expertise in sales, product design, and financial operations. Inspired by a desire to make a greater impact, she shifted her focus to environmental education, combining her strategic mindset with creative innovation. Alexa's journey led her back to South Florida, where she designed a push-powered, earth-friendly art cart built from sustainable materials. This simple yet powerful idea grew into Lele Art Lab, a transformative platform where art meets science. The lab creates inclusive opportunities for learners of all abilities to build, tinker, and explore, turning environmental education into meaningful action. Alexa's work embodies her mission, advocating for a greener planet and cleaner oceans by inspiring communities to engage in environmental stewardship through creativity, inclusivity, and education. Alexa, I'm going to turn this over to you. And thanks so much. One thing, oh, before I start, let me ask Alexa, are we okay using your name, Alexa? And she can tell you why.
Yes, yes, it's okay. I turned it off.
That was your own. Okay, take it away and let me know if you want me to, you can run the share function if you'd like. You're gonna and then show the PowerPoint, or would you like me to run it? Or what, how would you like to do that?
I'll go ahead and click on share screen. Oh, you're muted, Scott. You're muted again here.
Oh, sorry about that. You want me to take that or you want, I mean, you can do that from your screen. You can do the share and then
Okay, I'll do that.
okay. And then it'll, choose from your array of things if you've got it pulled up.
Yes. Okay. How does that look? Okay. All set? Is it, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
We can see the one that you've got queued up for yeah, we can see that now. You might want to, yeah, we can do, yeah.
Do you want to put it in play mode? Because we can see your kind of, it's not bad. We can see
The PDF file?
I thought it was a PowerPoint. Sorry about that. Never
Yeah,
mind.
is this a PDF or the PowerPoint?
Yes, it's a PDF, so I can scroll through this left side. It's easier.
Okay, all right, if you want to do it that way. Yeah, go ahead. So I don't know why it's jumping around. I think everybody needs to put themselves on mute, and I'm going to do that myself.
Okay. Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Scott. Thank you for joining us this evening. As Scott was saying, my name is Alexa Simeone. I'm a National Geographic certified educator, founder, and executive Executive Director of Lele Art Lab, an arts-based environmental organization. Thank you for joining, and I hope to be able to share a bit about our work in South Florida. So I wanted to start off with what's the challenge? What are we trying to solve? And give you a background of the environment that we're teaching in. And I'm coming from the 6th largest school district in the US, it's Broward County, where the district's minority enrollment is about 80%. Where you have kids who live a couple miles from the ocean, but that doesn't guarantee they get to experience it. Where the geography of opportunity is shaped by zip codes and the academic connection to science is limited to textbooks and rare once-in-a-blue-moon trips to the beach. Where environmental challenges disproportionately impact diverse communities and the Atlantic feels far beyond reach. We saw this as a result, it was more of a place and space issue. It was as a result, many underrepresented youth struggle to find their place and space in the world of science, a decision shaped by their perception of science rather their own abilities, a consequence of their limited exposure to science rather their own academic interest. So we said we want to change the script, and we made it our mission to do something about it, and that is the birth of Lele Art Lab. How do we do this? We pretty much turn ocean trash into creative opportunities for climate action, where the power of art meets the practice of science. And we do that through our program. Students engage in the climate conversations through sustainable design challenges, transforming marine debris into art. Maker labs become science lessons, and students gain new perspectives, empowered as explorers, makers, and doers. That's what really took us to the point of creating a mobile push-cart, earth-friendly art cart. As you can see here, it's designed to be able to go to all these different locations, and it's simple engineering, pop-up tables and a flip countertop. We bring the lab directly to the communities. We simply pull up and set up, no fancy lab equipment or integrating apps. Where do you find us? On the ground, community-centered. We show up in community gardens, libraries, and parks, and various civic spaces and in schools. We're an approved Broward County vendor and a certified minority small business enterprise. What I really want to go ahead and emphasize and tell you about is our Sea Lab Incubator, our flagship initiative in partnership with the Rotary Club of Deerfield Beach. It's a transformative 17 weeks design incubator where participants become ocean ambassadors and make a difference one design challenge at a time. In partnership with the Rotary Club of Deerfield Beach, we've been able to run this program for our 3rd year consecutively with the partnership and collaboration of the Deerfield Beach Teen Center. We've been able to have the support of city officials, commissioners, and various community leaders that have allowed us to bring this program to our youth locally. A bit about what we do. It's just what I call is collective actions. For example, last year we were able to build the first ocean-friendly garden certified by Surfrider Foundation here in Broward. Our second initiative is World Oceans Day, where we build a community art installation and we present it to the community as an open art show on June 7th, which is World Oceans Day, in collaboration with the city of Deerfield. We're able to run this art show on the beach, inviting students, families, and the community to collaborate for ocean awareness. And the really awesome news is our capstone project for last year called Printed Oceans made it to Pioneers. And we will be showing our installation in March in a couple of months. We were also fortunate to be part of the Everglades Champion Foundation program, where we were able to take the kids on a journey from the sawgrass to seagrass learning experience. And I've had a couple of questions in the past, like, how do you get a program off the ground? How were you able to involve the city? How did you pull the permits for the art show? So when I think back in the last 3 years, what really has gotten us to where we are today and to the growth that we're experiencing is the 3 C's. It's community. Pretty much is based on everything starts with community on the ground in civic spaces. And what I like to often call ignored corners. These spaces hold pockets of people who are new to what you're trying to do and are open to supporting programs that provide impact directly to the communities. For example, when we first went out there to pilot our program, the libraries were letting us know we don't really have any science programs that engage our youth. And our youth are really what we're trying to target. And I was able to run programs there at the very beginning. And that has led to partnerships for summer programs. Our second C would be to collaborate. Share, invite, and announce what you're trying to do in class, in your community, or simply as a group of interested people. Collaborate with organizations, city officials, tell your Parks and Recs director, meet with Rotary clubs, and those experiences take your idea, mold it, and it becomes a bigger and better version of what you thought you wanted to build. So collaboration has been always at the heart of the initial start of the flagship program that we created, the CLAB project. And the last thing is creating. When we get off screens and out of our heads and into our hands, our kids blossom. Our curriculum is based on maker labs. So during these 90-minute sessions, students are able to make 2 projects using ocean trash, sustainable materials to come up with really neat design, innovative products. And literally for the 90 minutes, all the students are engaged. They're hands-on, they're asking questions, they're collaborating. It just creates like an atmosphere of teamwork and inclusivity, because everybody learns at different paces. But when everybody's able to create something with their hands, it just blossoms into a whole new reality. And so I would definitely encourage to have a learning journey that has a start, middle, and end, that allows for a final presentation, a tangible product, and a celebration. That's pretty much what we do during these 17 weeks. All our teens go through a design journey. They attend 8 different field trips that get them to be citizen scientists on the ground. And we then put together a community art show where they present it to the community. And we then have a graduation where they're formally introduced as CLAB ambassadors. They then take on the program themselves, and we bring them back on as hired instructors to run programs in the summer. And that's empowering. That's providing agency to our youth in the community to lead. I've been asked previously, what is a certified National Geographic educator? A certified National Geographic educator means that you embody the National Geographic's learning framework. So you plug this framework into your curriculum or into your programs to go ahead and highlight different areas of what it means to be an explorer, such as attitudes like being curious, empathetic, or empowered. You run your ideas or your themes or your curriculum, your lessons through various skill sets where students can collaborate, problem solve, and communicate. For example, in our 90-minute class, we have 2 maker labs, and our students are able to create the project, talk about the materials they use, and they put this together as an artist statement. So through the 17 weeks, they come out with a portfolio of mixed media. And at the end of our class, we have artist statements that then are put into a YouTube video where students can then go ahead and share that with, other organizations where they're trying to apply for jobs or build their resumes or community service hours. And that's pretty much empowering them to be able to translate science facts into, design inspirational ways to communicate those science facts via art, design. And so pretty much the National Geographic certification process is it's a program that you follow with Nat Geo, and they put you through a different learning modules. And at the end of these modules, you create a capstone project, you share it with National Geographic educators, and they go ahead and provide certification. I went through this program a couple of years back when I had just moved from New York City. I was looking for a creative community to belong to. And I went through the program, and then my capstone project really caught the attention of the Nat Geo team, and they invited me back to be part of their educator cohort experience. That means I was paired with a National Geographic Explorer, and we were able to develop a 20-week curriculum to offer to the audience based on exploration, art, and environmental work. But that's enough. I feel like it's always best to visually communicate what we've done, and that's why I would like to share this video.
Yeah, make sure you activate the sound on that too.
Yes. Okay. With that said, I'd like to go ahead and end in conclusion and say that art is the best medium to share science facts, and it creates just an environment of community and collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexa. That was great. We have like about 10 people now in our audience, and a couple of people have joined us. Hey, Miriam. And others. Ooh, we got another one that just jumped on. So why don't we do this? If you got a question, if you could either physically raise your hand if you're there, or if you want to activate your screen. Adrian's got her clapping figure there. But if anybody has some question. I'll start. Susan has her hand up. Go ahead, Susan.
This may be obvious, but the sail, right? That was so cool. Those were pieces of like plastic or whatever trash was found in the ocean that was then put in paint and used to make that imprint of that item, or was the actual item somehow incorporated in there? I was trying to see that.
That's a great question. We actually, during our 17 weeks, we were in every field trip we had outdoors. We collected marine debris. We also teamed up with local divers that would share their what they've picked up on their own excursions. So we had a pretty large pile of ocean trash to work with. And so the students, we went through it where the students would select the items that they were pretty neat: goggles, the shoe, irregular pieces of plastic that you didn't know where, the full object was. And then just like with the traditional model of printmaking and print techniques, rather than using wooden stamps, we created those stamps with the debris and the trash itself. And so it creates this kind of pattern of unknown objects, abstract objects, also known objects and it tells the story of our oceans. And patch by patch, all the students put it together.
Great. Adrian, you
Very
had your
cool.
hand up. Oh, sorry. Who did you have a follow-up question? I didn't know who spoke. Adrian?
Nope, that was a mistake. Sorry.
Okay. Alexa, tell us how you got inspired to come up with that idea, or was that your idea? Or you worked with others to come up with that particular sail motif, or that's an interesting.
Well, I've always been a big creative. I mean, I've been in the creative design space for lots of years. And back in the day, in a past life, I used to recreate these commemorative corporate toys, if you want to cut like they were called financial tombstones, commemorative toys, trophies. And our working with a design team, we always had to come up with a physical product that captured whatever closing we had on Wall Street. And so that always stayed with me, coming up with an idea or coming up with a product or an object that would communicate a story of one particular theme. And so when we, as a class, we talked about marine debris. How can we tell the story of what we found on our coast, on our shores? We thought about a sail, and then we said, oh, okay, maybe we can put this together. So it all just kind of comes together naturally, organically, and also with the students' input.
Nice. Let me go to Julie first. You've got a couple questions, and Leah afterwards. Julie's got a question. How do you recruit students? What age do you work with?
So our C-Lab flagship initiative is modeled for youth ages 13 to 18. And the way we work is that we work in partnership with the city of Deerfield Beach, the teen center. They themselves take care of the registration and communicating with the families, the field trips, the classes, the curriculum. And what we do is we partner with these spaces, these learning spaces, where they're looking for a STEM program or an after-school program that has impact. And we get the word out via social media, flyers, but it's really a collaborative effort with these learning spaces that are looking for a program that is innovative and a bit different from out of the box, that can include youth of all abilities.
Leah.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. And thank you, Alexa. That was really very, very fascinating. We have something similar with collaboration with you would be a perfect joint. We have a junior team, and we also have an Earth Day event where we have students who are 14 to 18 years old create an art piece of artwork made out of plastic trash or waste, and then write an essay about what they learned about how dangerous plastic is to their health, to their environment, etc. And at the moment, we have almost 20 kids registered for our event in March, where they will be showing their artwork. But I think we have a collaboration to do here. That's my understanding and feeling about it. We should work together.
Yes, yes, definitely. We should definitely connect afterwards, and I could bring the art lab, a mini experience to you
Yeah.
and your team, and see we can go from there. Really, it's about building these custom art and science discovery programs for these varied learning spaces. For example, in order to reach our teen centers, families, demographics, we had flyers translated. We communicated that 99% of our kids do not know how to swim, but that doesn't mean that you can't experience the ocean or see the reef. So in all our field trips, we bring on lifeguards. We emphasize high waist snorkel activities in Phil Foster Park. We take them to the marine lab. So it was definitely a lot of community meetings and community building from the start. This is very innovative. Many people are like, wait a minute, I don't know anything about the ocean. I've never been. Why? I can't do this. I can't do that. So we had to break down all those barriers. And when I say break down those barriers, I mean, make sure to translate those flyers, make sure to meet with that family, make sure to meet with those community leaders who have a pulse in the community and can vouch for your program.
Yeah, there's no question about when you deal with art, you're educating your audience. And we have found that's the best way to reach out and make people aware of how endangered our environment is if we don't do something about it. And art is the best way to get their attention. So I
Leah,
congratulate you for that. You came up with a great idea.
yeah,
Thank you.
let's riff for a little bit on the idea of actually doing some kind of Sierra event on this with Alexa. Maybe, I mean, I don't, you might come up with something for the Earth Day, but I'm also thinking, if you want to engage people, I don't know, as a separate thing. I mean, you're going to have the students that are signed up for this, whatever
Yeah.
project they're going to do,
For
but
the art contest, yeah. But
yeah,
we
for the art
also-
contest. But how about us adults who want to get into the art stuff again? Can
Yeah.
we
We
see
should
Susan
do.
shaking her head. She
You
knows
want
what
to
I'm talking
form
about.
an adult group?
Yeah,
And
well,
we're
why don't
happy
we
to-
have an opportunity? Is there an
I think you're
opportunity
right.
there? Aside from the students are going to do their thing, right? They've got it, but
Yeah.
either at that event or maybe another event, like she's showing it people at the beach, right? With the sales, why can't, sort of more of that community thing that Sierra would sponsor? And, we could have a separate event just around something like that. I know Susan is, with some of the Surf Pride or some of the some of the ocean folks have been putting some of these
A lo- a
together. What do
lot-
you think?
A lot of our adults have come to us and said, how do I play the game too? And
Right, and you're so right. Everybody, when we started our pilots on the ground, when I started to fill my backyard with families during the tail end of COVID, and I had to decide, well, what do I do? Do I get a space to rent? Do I lease a space? Do I get a brick and mortar? And there was various startup accelerators I was a part of, and there was all these questions. But I said to myself, why would I? Creating a space to bring the community. Why don't I go to the community? And I was just thinking about all these amazing experiences I had during summer. I would go to Colombia and I would always watch the ice cream man come out in the plaza with his bright uniform, colorful hat, and his little ice cream cart with little bells on it, all decorated with tropical colors. And that plaza was filled in a heartbeat. Everybody came out, hung out, had ice cream, and just enjoyed a popsicle in company. And I said, okay, so then how can I create this vehicle, this art lab, this mobile art lab, called up a lot of hot dog vendors to reconstruct the cart that was out of budget, called various different institutions to try to get funding. And I came across the movie Chasing Corals. I'm sure everybody's watched it, the Netflix documentary, awarded. And I reached out to them. I put together a pitch deck, and they funded my idea with it from the very beginning. They said, "We love it. Take it on the road." And that's how the art cart was born. And I was on the road literally. I hit all the micro schools, all the homeschooling co-ops. And you'll be surprised that 80% of the parents that were there to bring their children for the experience were also asking to be part of that experience. So on the ground, like Scott was saying, I think that when you have art and when you have materials that speak to you, you even want to play yourself. So I'm open to collaboration and sponsorship.
Well, let's ask the folks on this call, you just made me think, that would be, I have a little pocket park down at the end of my street, and I'm thinking, what we, as you're saying, I mean, you wouldn't need much to sort of, maybe some flyers or something to get people out their front door. But once they get there, you got this sort of spontaneous community gathering, and people are just sort of, having a good time with each other out there. What do people think? Would that work in your neighborhood if you had something going on like this? Anybody who Peter or Ilya?
Well, we can possibly do another social eco and have it as a art contest for adults. That would be fun. I'll have to discuss that with Lisa. She's looking for what the next event will be. Yeah, I
Peter,
think,
what do you think? He took his mute off. I'm going to put him on the spot now and see if he's. Would this work in your
Yeah,
neighborhood?
so I'm trying to get my mind around it because unfortunately I had two interruptions in my house here while this was going on. So
Okay.
I wasn't clear on how this is funded, and then there was some discussion about that, but and how far this penetrates into school systems. It wasn't. I guess I'm
Okay,
not
so
really understanding if this is part of the school system or this is works completely outside of the
great
schools.
question. Thank you, Peter. Great question. How are we funded? Great questions. So we are funded through corporate sponsorship grants and direct to business inquiries, right? These very learning spaces. We're an approved Broward County vendor. So we've been approved by the county to bring in our programs for the after school learning. Right now we have various presentations with different schools. One is the Charles E. Elementary School in Pompano. We also have Deerfield Beach Middle, and we have a partnership with Deerfield Beach High School and Deerfield Beach City. And that city, the city, obviously, I'm a vendor for the city, and we are fiscally sponsored project under the Rotary Club of Deerfield Beach. So we're a social enterprise, and we do business for good. And that's what I learned during my time in the private sector. I worked a lot on the ground in nonprofits in Europe and South America. And then I went over to the private sector where I saw things were done differently. So I've been able to merge the two to bring this impactful program that's been supported by Camelback Ventures, Echoing Green, Jane Goodall, Roots and Shoots, Kids Gardening, and various other institutions that have funded and provided a platform for the work we're doing.
Right. So I guess I think my thought about this whole thing is how do you get penetration into the school system, right?
Well,
So
that's a great
it's
question.
more and it sounds like you're doing it
Correct.
in certain areas, and that's great. But I
Correct.
guess so many kids, and not just kids, it's adults too, have very little interest in what's going on with the climate. And I mean, this is what I find out in society every day is this I don't know if it's, you know, people are just ignoring what's happening, um, or just denying it because they don't want to deal with it. Um, but it makes me wonder, well, okay, there's some adults that will never acknowledge, they're okay, we're never going to get to them. But yeah, involving children is extremely critical. And so because you want them to be educated and grow up with this knowledge. And so how hard is it? How hard is it to get something structured that is comprehensive, um, and implemented or integrated into our school, our educational system, right? Even if it's an elective or something, sure, maybe it's not a course that they take throughout the whole year, but how do you fashion something like that all children have to take or are compelled to take or exposed to it?
Well, this is a first step coming on and doing presentations. Thank you, Scott, for the platform and opportunity. And we were just awarded a grant through the Awesome Foundation Miami-Dade chapter. And they themselves asked the same question, Peter, how do we get this in Miami-Dade, the sixth largest school district in the nation with 80% of minority kids enrolled, right? It's not so much about the academic curriculum going into that. I find that it's more about the after school spaces where where youth, kids, K through 12 are able to develop their science identity through the vehicle of art. And that breaks down a lot of barriers. I don't have this, I don't know that. And so that's really the tool where we niche down on in these varied learning spaces, what I call sometimes ignored spaces, the library, the civic centers, the teen centers, the urban gardens. And that's where we've been able to find our audience, and we've been able to find the need. The opportunity of ocean exploration is only for certain zip codes. And that's a sad reality in South Florida. That's the truth. Nothing's changed.
Yeah. And if I'm understanding what you just said, it sounds incredulous that people live in Florida and aren't experiencing or have knowledge of the ocean. I mean,
yeah, no,
but I get that. Sure. Some people just don't have any interest in it.
Well, Peter, the other part, I mean, interestingly enough, and I've heard Alexa talk a little bit about that particular point before, is I actually was on the West Coast and in Los Angeles for many years, and I was doing some teaching out there. And one of the projects I was involved with was in Venice Beach, where you always see, you know, roller skaters on Venice Beach with all kinds of interesting attire, Muscle Beach, and that's. But I was working with kids who literally lived 3 blocks from the ocean and never been to the ocean. And they had different issues. I mean, part of that was gang related, actually. They
Right.
didn't want to go through that.
Yeah, I understand that.
But that's an interesting,
right.
it's a challenge. I mean, sometimes we take that stuff for granted, and
Right.
people live there, they must experience that every day, but that's not often, sometimes that's not the case. And Alexa, you had a little bit of a story, and I think Susan had her hand up too, but sort of talking a little bit about the ocean and your own background and being involved with the ocean and being a water polo person at the University of Florida. And talk a minute about that before Susan gets a chance to ask her question.
Sure. So I was born in New York City, and I grew up between New York City, Miami, and South Florida. And I was one of these youth. I wanted the experience with the ocean, snorkeling, and it just wasn't readily available, like many of what our youth go through. And then I jumped into different body of water, which is a public pool, and I became the top water polo player for my district, and was walked onto the team at University of Florida. That experience changed my life completely. Traveled to the West Coast, East Coast with different, going to LSU, different state competitions. And I kept that passion for the water and sports in the water for a very, very long time. So when I made my way back to South Florida after 25 years of not living in the state, I realized much hadn't changed by being on the ground. Much hasn't the barriers to inclusion in ocean exploration, marine science were still there. And that's when I was able to kind of piece all these parts together to create a program that really spoke to the community, as well spoke to the learning spaces that had a need. And I was able to fit the two together to build this platform.
Yeah. Well, it's really creative, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Susan.
Yeah, so Alexa, I remember the last time we saw this presentation with the Broward Climate Alliance, it had reminded me about the Diversity in Aquatics organization, and I still owe you that connection. I haven't forgotten. And what just brought that into my mind was this conversation about the children who live probably somewhere between Federal Highway and I-95 and haven't gotten to the beach simply for so many reasons, not for lack of interest, but more lack of opportunity and lack of just exposure to it at all, because their parents don't go. There also are so many adults from the Caribbean who were raised when they were in the Caribbean not to go near the water because the water is dangerous. Most of my swim students in New York, the adult swim students, were mostly from Jamaica. That's just the way they were raised, not to go near the water. So my question to you, which is something I had not thought of until just this second, is these students who are 13, 14, 15, they get exposed to the water. You do this amazing work with them. And then when they are no longer part of the program, like when they go off to college or something like that, to keep them engaged. I don't know if the program's been in place long enough to think beyond that, but something that I was thinking is if you're helping them learn to swim and having them engaged in the water, there's a shortage of lifeguards in Broward County. So I think there's an opportunity there. I know it's not, ocean plastic related, but it is an extra life skill that we
I hear
can
you.
connect them.
No, that's a great question, because upon finishing our 2024 17 weeks design program, we went ahead and established, because of what we had seen on the ground, a youth swim fund, which is in collaboration with the city of Deerfield Aquatics. And what we do is that we opened a fund through the Rotary Club where all students that have gone through the program are able to enroll in summer swim sessions. Then we've partnered with Dixie Divers, who offers our students a scholarship to attend scuba camp for about 12 days in August. And so there's that continuous learning model. And for example, we had 2 students that graduated, went off to University of Florida, come back home for summer, and then have become our summer interns that lead the programs at the Pompano Beach Cultural Library, where they run our marine science program for 2 to 3 weeks. They themselves are empowered to lead the program. So it's a continuous cycle that we have, which is employability, scholarships, and a life learning connection to the ocean and the environment.
The scuba is the best part.
Maxine, did you have I know you were giving a thumbs up at certain points. I thought maybe, did you have a question as well? Okay. Kim, I know you said you echoed that you had some similar kinds of questions. Did you have any? Oh, Maxine, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was slow to find out how to unmute. No, my thumbs up was just, I'm so impressed with what Alexa's been able to do. And, the questions have enabled her to expand upon what might have been a finite kind of experience and program and extended it so beyond. And honestly, Alexa, I think this is extraordinary, and hats off to you. It's so impressive, and you should just really know that those of us who are learning about it think that this is an amazing thing that you've offered children, and I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's been a very community-centered collaborative approach. I wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without the team, without the support of the city officials, without people like Scott and Susan who I emailed and we connected and I said, hey, this is what I do. And they said, we'd love to share it with others. So it's really a collaborative effort to be able to bring these opportunities for our youth. And I'm just grateful for, your kind words and everybody's supportiveness.
Okay, I
Yeah.
have
Seems
go ahead.
Go ahead, Kim.
Well, I'm just thinking it's so uplifting to me, just personally. Like, it really is. I like a sigh of relief to think, oh, thank God, there really are some people doing something, and there are, substantial numbers of young people that are going to be educated. And I mean, it's like I can feel it in my body, the relaxation that comes a little bit from thinking, gosh, maybe there is hope. And I wonder if it would benefit you and the program at all to present this presentation for a congregation, even a small congregation like the UU where I go. I don't know whether it would be to, to appeal for funds or, that was one of my questions, but there aren't a lot of young people there. There really isn't a large membership there right now. But they're in transition, just got a minister. And I know one member just talked about doing something called Creativity Matters, where they would get together once a month, something mostly for the adults to create music in person and laid back kind of get together. But it would, I think, involve art as well. So wondered what your thoughts are on that.
No, definitely, Kim. I think we should definitely connect. A very interesting story is that when we were first featured in Don't Trash Your Treasure, our pilot round came out. They came out to film what our students were doing, our work, our World Oceans Day art show. A family caught it on the news, and they sent in a direct check to the city, specifically funded for the Sea Lab. They wanted to keep their mother's memory alive, and she was a Caribbean artist who loved designing the ocean. And that family then came out to visit our program, see our students' work. So you would be surprised. And like I say, these pockets of community, how much more impact there is, and how much real direct understanding you have with the community and how you could bring these programs to them. But yes, I would definitely love to connect and we can go from there.
Great, thanks.
Susan.
Can I add to what Kim just said? Kim, you're talking about the UU in Boca or the UU Rivergrass?
I was talking about Boca, which of course is right next to Deerfield. So that's another
Yeah.
thing.
And the city of Boca Raton, guaranteed if you wanted to do something at Red Reef Park, we could get that scheduled and you could probably do it in conjunction where you would do a presentation at the UU and then move like the whole thing over to Red Reef Park and do it whatever you wanted to do at the beach. It's just spitballing. And there's definitely a large need in Delray Beach. There's a huge community in Delray. So we just need to clone you. We just need to clone Alexa.
Well, there's several
you know.
members at UU that live in Delray or Boynton.
Correct. And that's not, like I said in the very beginning, the model, the business model is not necessarily sits on the educator being myself, right? It's that contagious design journey that you go through that gives you that agency to then present it to your community. And that's way more powerful than anybody else than when it's a youth, peer-to-peer learning, peer-to-peer experiences that really takes it far forward. For example, during our summer pilot program with the Pompano Beach City Library, we were able, our Sea Lab ambassadors put on the program. We collected all the data in the beginning and the end, and the surveys came in stellar, positive, 5 stars. And it was that same experience because they were there as Sea Lab ambassadors. Once you assume that role, that doesn't go anywhere. You become empowered. And that's really where the Nat Geo learning framework is so important. There's these pillars we go through that equips them with the knowledge and the skills to present it to their community members. And just like the other day, we had a session where one of the students to present. We asked him, what does the ocean mean for you? You know, what does it communicate? What does it inspire? And he said, well, I was born, you know, the first sentence he said is, I love the ocean because, you know, I was born on an island. I'm from Trinidad. And that connection, you can never find that in an academic curriculum to allow you to do that. That connection needs to come from the student being comfortable with the setting, the materials, to really translate his personality into what he's doing in that moment. And so that's what really speaks to me when youth take agency. And I'm empowered by the youth I see. I'm hopeful. Their work got to Bioneers. You know how many artists applied to be at Bioneers, the largest environmental conference in UC Berkeley? We'll be presenting in March their work. Their capstone project from Deerfield Beach, the smallest community in South Florida, is being shipped to the West Coast for March. That to me was amazing.
Tell us
Thank
the
you.
dates of Bioneers again.
So March 27th to the 29th, and we have 4 afternoon passes. If anybody from the Climate Reality Project Group, the network here, would like to attend.
Thank you. Greg Hammer keeps posting about it on social media.
Leah, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I do. Alexa, are you registered to show or have a table at the Youth Climate Summit in Pompano Beach?
No, I have not learned of the Youth Climate Summit. I love to learn.
I'm gonna send you information. You can have a table. It's all for students, Broward County students who come to the event and want to know how they can get involved in environmental issues. And I think you would be a perfect person to have a table there. We're going to have a table there, and our junior members are going to be there, and they are always tons of kids that come. It's on a Friday. I'll send you the information. I put my email address in the chat to send to you. Send me yours, and I will give you the information on how to register.
Thank you.
Okay, we're kind of winding down here. We got a few minutes left. Anybody else got some final questions here?
I just wanted to let Alexa and Kim know that I posted in the chat the name Dave Nelson. David's a member of the UU Boca. He's teaches ukulele there. He also happens to be an open water swimmer, big time. So he's a good contact for the UU, along with Kim.
Alexa, it sounds like, I don't know if you got something ready, you can drop in a contact or some information you want to post there that people might be able to download. We can follow up if you'd like, but if you got something now that you could drop in the chat for people to download while we're wrapping up here, that might be helpful. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Email and website. Yeah, thanks very much. We're winding up. I'm going to show you in a minute something about what we're doing next week. But first, Alexa, this has been a wonderful conversation, and so much appreciate you showing some of the wonderful, fantastic things that you're doing with students and adults. We know we got those adults in there doing some of this art as well. And just as, you know, we got a very enthusiastic audience tonight. I hope we're going to get some of our educators on to see this presentation through the magic of recording. And I want to thank you very much again for all of this work that you're doing. And I think that's a good idea, Leah, if she's interested in visiting out of the Youth Summit, that might be fun for everybody. I'm going to just share this final thing here, if I can grab it here, just to show you next time. You guys can see that? Okay, yeah, this is our next month. We're going to have Amber Moore from Riverwoods Field Labs talk about a trip that everybody here can go on if they want to learn some more about the Kissimmee River restoration. FAU has this Riverwoods Field Lab that you can go on with your students or maybe just yourself as an adult. Leah, I was telling Jordan about this the other night at the Sierra meeting. I said, this would be a great trip for the Sierra Club to go on, bring a bunch of folks out there and go on the boat trip up there and learn some of the issues about Everglades restoration. So I invite you all to go on that next time. So
Send me the